excited to begin. I just want to say my name is Ariana Marshall. I'm a graduate student at Florida A&M University, and some of my fellow students and I, we saw that it was important to have this kind of discussion at a coastal management meeting. The discussions have been going on at other meetings, but we wanted to make sure that it was also representative of some of the people who may not typically come to the coastal management meeting. So in that light, we're really thankful for the panelists who were able to come here and spend their time. And I'm going to introduce you to them, beginning with the last speaker and then ending with the first speaker. So first we have Ms. Sharon Fuller. Ms. Fuller is a founder and former executive director of the MATS Youth Academy, a multicultural environmental education program that promotes economic opportunities for youth and increases community involvement in environmental protection. She's a former trustee of the University of California, Berkeley Foundation and has served on many boards, including Navy's Point Mille Lacs Restoration Advisory Board, the National Park Service Crizzy Field Environmental Education Center Advisory Board, and the UC Berkeley College of Natural Resources Advisory Board. Ms. Fuller is a 2005 Women's Foundation Women Policy Institute Fellow, the recipient of the 2004 Woman of the Year Award for the State of California 14th Assembly District, and the San Francisco Foundation's 2004 Caution Civic Unity Award for her youth advocacy in the community. She's currently a PhD student in environmental science and policy management at UC Berkeley. So, Ms. Fuller. Secondly, we have Ms. Audrey Peterman. Since 1995, Audrey Peterman has been a leader in the movement to make America's public land system relevant and accessible to the American people, particularly Americans of color. She and her husband, Frank, formed their environmental company, Earthwise Productions, Inc., to help public land managers effectively engage with Americans of African, Asian, Latino, and Native American descent, who have historically been absent from the public lands domain. Having toured the country from coast to coast, I visited 157 units of the National Park System. In 2009, the Petermans co-authored Legacy on the Land. A Black couple discovers our national inheritance and tells why every American should care, which highlights the opportunities and impediments inherent in the contemporary environmental movement. She's featured in this month's issue, July 2011, of Outside Magazine. She serves on the boards of the National Parks Conservation Association, the National Parks Promotion Council, and the Association of Partners for Public Lands. She received the Environmental Hero Award from NOAA in 2000. And our last panelist, and that's the magazine, and she's going to pass it around. The last panelist, and we're very thankful to have her here, we're thankful to have everyone here. Queen Quet Marquetta Goodwine is a published author, computer scientist, lecturer, mathematician, historian, columnist, preservationist, film consultant, and an artivist. She is the founder of the premier advocacy organization for the continuation of the Gullah Geechee culture, the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition. Queen Quet has not only provided histo-musical presentations throughout the world, but was also the first Gullah Geechee person to speak on behalf of her people before the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. Queen Quet was one of the first of 7 inductees to the Gullah Geechee Nation Hall of Fame. She received the Anointed Spirit Award for her leadership and for being a visionary. In 2008, she was recorded at UNESCO headquarters in Paris, France, at a United Nations conference in order to have the human rights story of the Gullah Geechee people archived for the United Nations. Queen Quet has appeared in and consulted for over a dozen films that range from full-length action films to historic documentaries. She has been interviewed by national and international media for television, radio, and print. She has been seen and heard on programs in Australia, China, Germany, Mexico, the Bahamas, Cuba, England, and different countries in Africa. She also has become the host of the Gullah Geechee Nayshun Nyews, which is broadcast by Gullah Geechee TV. In September of 2010, she spoke before a full house and received a standing ovation at United Nations National Press Club in DC, as she educated the crowd on the language and the continuing traditions of the Gullah Geechee Nation. Queen Quet has won countless awards for being a woman of distinction, for her scholarship, writings, artistic presentation, activism, cultural continuation, and environmental preservation. Her accolades include the United States Jefferson Award for Community Service, the Jean Laney Folk Heritage Award for Gullah Advocacy from the state of South Carolina. She received the Preserving Our Places in History Lifetime Achievement Award from the South Carolina African American Heritage Commission. The General Assembly of South Carolina also honored Queen Quet with Resolution 1453 for the work that she has done on behalf of her home state and Gullah Geechee people locally, nationally, and internationally. She was selected, elected, and installed by her people to be the first Queen Mother, head body, and official spokesman for the Gullah Geechee Nation. As a result, she is respectfully referred to as Queen Quet, Chieftess of the Gullah Geechee Nation and head of state. So we want to welcome Queen Quet, who's going to be our first speaker.
But then you can't gamble on that because it got salty in it. So you have to have some your children can come along and be so quirky, but throw a thing in it. Why ain't one there funny anymore? But then I act like, we the cracky. So easy. But look at this, I can see your tongue. But when I'm with your tongue, then I don't know what not take them anymore. But then why did the cat thing and throw them in it? We can't see through door. Then what a float water. Then what a going down, Then I rock up and rock down, Then the thing not dead in the home. Then the thing take a cat and just throw some people together. Throw something on the paper and make them say, this your thing going to be clean. You know such a thing. People I never met people for do right. When I have to hang hot for do right. And then take your money and start for doing a thing like that. Then the learn we say, when I know better, I'm going to do that. Now, everybody not do that. Sometimes you have to make them so you can understand how to do that. So plenty of people when they're coming down the river there, Jacksonville, North Carolina, down Jacksonville, Florida, so now I'm standing with a cracky teeth like that shit. So we were cracky, tell me patrol away and things like that. Same thing and tell me patrol away the way we've been left. Now they claim they tell me forget them back. Something when you throw away, can't get them back. None of we people have been thrown away so long. And when you come to the Gullah Geechee Nation now, you might never hear them speak Gullah. You might never hear them speak Geechee. You might only hear them speak this way. And then what happens is, people go back and say, the Gullah Geechee people are no longer on the coast from Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida. That they no longer reside on the sea islands, nor 30 to 35 miles inland to the St. Johns River. In fact, many times when they write about the area, they just call it the low country. We don't necessarily talk about no low, because we've been down long enough. So, for us, it's the Gullah Geechee Nation, or it's the sea islands, or it's just home. Now, one thing about us is water is who we are. The land is our family, and the waterways are our bloodline. So, I don't think all of y'all got it a while ago when I was saying it. But, you know, if I was to go and pass this around for you to drink, but you couldn't see through it, you probably would never swallow it, right? You wouldn't take it into your body, right? Why not? If it was supposed to be water and you couldn't see through it, why wouldn't you drink it? No answer? Oh, so you would drink it? I'm assuming. Oh, who would drink it? Nobody. But you don't know why you wouldn't drink it?
Because it's dirty.
Because it would be dirty if you couldn't see through it, right? Because water's supposed to be what? Clear. And the only reason y'all can't see through this water now because we in this air conditioning, you know. We're getting a little bit of residuals on the outside of the glass. But it should be just that clear. Well, you know what's not clear? That's just like that water that you said is dirty. It's a lot of our legislation about water. Because folks sure can't see through it. And they can't see their way to it. Especially if they're used to living off the water and living on top of the water and in the water like we do. Gullah Geechees live literally in the Atlantic Ocean. But somehow, when we get folks together in a room, instead of giving it to them clear, somebody drop a whole bunch of stuff in there that make the water unclear. Nobody can see through it and nobody want to take it in either. So if you can't take it in, you can't live it. You don't think about it, so you can't do it. Same thing that I said, if you put it on paper, don't make you do it. It's just written down. You got to have the mind and the heart to want to live it out. Well, my people don't have a heart or mind to do anything else. Because that's what we've been doing for 400 years on this coast and thousands of years on the western seaboard of Gullah that we've been taught to call Africa today. And is our coast different now than it was in 1600 when we were taken from there? Not really. In the sense that I could still go out with a cast net and catch what I want and bring in my food. But really, it is, since at one point I didn't need that cast net. I could just go down and wade in the water and actually do just like this and throw a whole bunch of shrimp back up on land. I used to could just go out with this and a stick and walk the crab down. Get to them, catch them, spin them, toss them in there and carry them with me. But now, I need to have my crab baskets and my crab pots, and then I got to have a boat because I got to go further and further and further out into the creek. And then, when it comes to shrimping now, you got to have a big old trawler, and you have to most go way out to the ocean. Then here comes all these people. Now the people say, you can't go in the ocean and catch nothing to eat. How you figure that? My whole family needs food. How am I getting it? They said, because you ain't got a license to go in that water. But then you pull out a license and they say, oh no, this license stopped you a mile back. Because you were supposed to, how I'm supposed to know that? Ain't no sign in the water, ain't no mile marker. This ain't I-95, this is the ocean. So how I'm supposed to know that I don't have a license and that once I cross from right here to right here, that this particular government is the state and this particular government is the federal government, and all the meanwhile, the fish going back and forth and they ain't got no license. So I'm trying to just follow them so that I can bring them back home so that all us